Alright, hey guys, what's up? We're back. Doing another tier list. Jeff the Mellows himself. And this one has been a long time coming. It's our ARK Survival Evolved Creatures tier list. Everybody's on here. All the big ones, all the bosses are on here. All the big names. Everybody. So, yeah.
As far as we know, we might have missed some, but that's okay. We got everybody who mattered.
Yeah. Let's start up. We're going to go down because I don't want these tiers to fill up by the second row and then have nowhere to put everything. So, we're going to go down every way as straight as we possibly can. Of course, I know can't fit them all in there. But anyway, let's continue with our very first tame in the series, the Dodo.
C tier. That should be the defining feature. It's not annoying to tame, it's not good well tamed, and it has no purpose before it's tamed, except for like easy meat. And even then it doesn't give you that much. So it's a pretty good like middle ground to base everything else off of.
Yeah. Second tame. I tried to go in order of how we tamed them, and then after the fourth one I just said fuck it and just went ape shit on the rest of them. But anyway, Turtis is up next.
Turtis, the Carbonemuses, those are gonna be D tier. Although Turtis was such an iconic figure, those things are so fucking useless.
They are very, very useless.
They are super slow, they do like no damage. They're good for pretty much nothing, and you tame them early on, and you need cementing paste to make a saddle to ride them, and it's really not even worth it by the time you get cementing paste.
Really isn't. Parasaurolophus, Rico, up next.
Parasaur is a B tier, maybe even A tier. I think that this is the first valuable tame you're gonna get, especially considering it is also not hard to get. All you need is a bola and a club, and you knock one out, you get a good one. They don't do that much damage. They're decently fast. The stamina's okay. Health is okay as well. But as far as early game, getting around to this is your method of transport.
All right, we're gonna go down because I forgot I went across. I didn't go down. But first we'll do Clint, Carnitore.
Carnitores. This is a tough one.
Where
do you think they should go?
I'd probably put an A. Because they do...
I mean, yeah.
They do damage. They do quite a bit of damage. They're not that big, though. They're not, like, huge. They are faster. Right. Pretty effective, since you can most likely get them in the early game. They're more effective for that. Good killing and stuff. Help really progress you into the later game.
They're like pretty much the first carnivore you get, even though it definitely should have been the raptor. That should have been the first carnivore we got, because the raptor is easy as well. All you need is a bola and a slingshot or a club, or whatever you have handy, really.
We're going to do the raptor next. Velociraptor.
Raptors, I think, is right there with the Parasaur, because it's not as good as the Carno. It's faster. It is an improved method of transport. Its weight is really shit, though. Its damage is good. It has this cool like buff when it's in like a pack of other raptors. I don't really know what it does, but it's cool, I guess. So I'm gonna put it right there with the Parasaur because it's the first carnivore you should tame, really.
All right, up next is the Gigapithecus, beefcake, or humongous monk, whatever you want to call it.
Freaky, yeah. I don't want to put this high up because realistically, these things are completely fucking useless. They're about the same as a Parasaur.
They're really good,
except for they fight back, and you have to follow them around for like an hour, feeding berries to them.
They don't require a saddle to ride them, which is pretty nice, but
right,
they're good for getting berries and fiber pretty early on in the game, which
they're
is good
okay
as well.
for getting berries. I'd say earlier on. Yeah, but you could just use the Parasaur and be completely fine. I would put it at a C tier, honestly. Obviously, yeah, we loved the monkeys in our series, but, like, realistically, though, looking at it from, like, a real standpoint, they're completely like there's no real point in getting them.
Yeah, there really is.
Except for maybe caves.
Yeah, I guess if you get a group of them together, they're pretty effective in caves. But you know, if you encounter a really high level Sarco or something, they're pretty much done for. So.
We leveled ours up very, very fast and very, very like high level. And like even Beefcake, it's sad to say, but Beefcake was so shit. Beefcake died from a fucking bear. Now, in all honesty, that was partially our fault for leaving him on passive, but you know.
Whatever. I'm gonna move to next. Actually, no, I'm just gonna keep going down. The Microraptor. I'm gonna put this in F tier. This was complete fucking.
This is easily an F tier. These things were so annoying. They always fucking knock you off your shit.
They were almost the end of Mufasa, till you know, of course, Mufasa didn't do it. But you know,
thanks to this next thing on the list, they were literally like almost the bane of us entirely.
They knock you off of everything. They're everywhere. They knock you off of everything. And they knock you, like, out of this world for, like, 10 seconds. And you don't, right. Like, they're a complete nuisance. They're not even that good.
Right, exactly. They are so shit. And they're not even worth taming. I don't even know. I think they're a pretty complicated tame to begin with. But, they're just so shit. There's no redeemable factors about them.
And then also the other thing that was almost the end of Mufasa, the Megapithecus, our first boss that we're going to be ranking.
Now, how are we going to rank bosses? Because we're ranking everything else on before taming and after tame. But this guy's a boss, so should we do difficulty, design, and...
Difficulty to probably kill, I'd say. Because or we could also get difficulty to get their artifacts, but...
Well, the Megapithecus, it's very hard to get the artifacts, because one of the caves you have to go to is the underwater cave to get the artifact of the Brood. And I'd say that's the hardest artifact to get for him. But the thing is, I loved the underwater area. I loved everything about that cave and everything in it. Once you got a basil, it was pretty fucking straightforward. But I think we should do it on design as well. I don't know how much you got to actually see the Megapithecus, but I think as far as bosses go, he's pretty much A tier. He's really hard to get, so he's not S tier, but you know, once you kill him, you unlock some pretty good engrams. His arena, we should also rate them on those. His arena is really, really fucking cool. It's it's like a Himalayan arena, and he's like an ancient Buddha or something like that.
All right, up next is the Deodon.
All right. Now, from a real ARK gamer standpoint, this is easily an S tier, but from our standpoint, it's going to be a little bit different. Because the only time we did take him to a boss fight was the Broodmother, and the fucking T-Rexes annihilated it too quickly for us to even get anything done with him. Really, yeah. And so pretty much the wild Deodons are what we're going to have to base them off of. And there was that one time where we got too close to the ground and then got knocked off the birds, and that was not fun. And then we had to take a long-ass time to get our shit back. So if I'm going to rate this asshole, I'm going to put him at a fucking D, because Jesus Christ, is he annoying. And they do, for their healing effect, it does require a shit ton of meat, which isn't that hard to get, but it is still pretty annoying, I'd say.
It is annoying because you have to constantly feed them. So,
right.
They're so high, they have high maintenance, is what I should say.
Right, exactly, they are high maintenance.
Up next is the Penguin, something that we barely even got to enjoy.
Yeah, they died so fucking fast.
I don't know, they're not very effective. They're cute, but they're not very effective at anything.
I think they got to be right there with the dodo, because they're pretty much the same thing.
Right. Yeah, they're just the cold dodo.
The only plus that I would have to say is when you kill them, they have polymer, organic polymer, and early game that's pretty good way to get polymer, even though it does expire, which is a bit annoying.
All right, we're gonna do another boss now. The one that was the end of lot of our creatures on this list, the Ice Titan. And then we'll go back up to the top, finish up with some other bosses.
Now, I don't know if the Ice Titan has an arena, because I've never fought it in anywhere except for accidentally. But it did fucking kill everything that we loved. except for our Rexes. And it was level 1000, the one that we fought, which I don't know if that means anything really, but you'd think that mean a lot. Now this thing is a very, very fucking strong thing.
It shoots ice. It can regenerate its health. It can. I
think altogether, it's probably right there with them. I actually think it's an S tier boss because it is really fucking cool looking and giant and shit.
Yeah, I'll put it in the S. It can jump. It can shoot ice.
And it did end off our series in a pretty good fucking way.
Well,
even if we didn't want to fight that.
No, but whatever.
Yeah, shit.
Going back up. We'll get to the bottom again later, but let's do Triceratops next. An early game tame, but we tamed one very near the end. Just completely forgot about this guy.
Great game. And I tamed him off camera because I was waiting for shit to happen, and I was waiting for Tyler, and I was just like, oh, there's a trike over there. I'm gonna go tame that. Now, early game, Trikes. Very early game, very early tame. The saddle is not hard to make. I'd say if you're defending yourself, if you're going to go raid a base and everybody has early bases, Trikes are actually pretty good. I would put it at a B tier with the Para and the Raptor, mostly because they are everywhere as well, so they're not hard to find. It's like the Raptors can be a little bit harder to find, and they're going to be an early base raider as well, but I think that the Trike is pretty easy, pretty good. It has a couple of cool effects, and I think altogether it's a well-rounded dinosaur.
Alright, the biggest jump scare dino in all of this game, the Capro Suchus, is up next.
The Capro Suchus. Now, on an annoyance level, I would put it in an F. But as a, tameability, it's easy to tame. You just gotta trank it out and put meat in it. And then riding it, it's pretty good.
It can jump so far.
I had to say that it would probably be one of the best, if not the best, cave dinosaur. But so I'm gonna have to put it. It would definitely be somewhere between S and F. So maybe at a C or a B.
Oh, that was okay. It's not very. It can jump really far, but it takes a lot of stamina for it to do it.
Right.
Doesn't move that fast otherwise. I'm gonna put it in D tier. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Its jump scare.
Oh, so that jump scare is actually terrifying, though.
Its jump scares are something out of next year. But all right, another F tier right here, the Pego. This thing is just a complete nuisance.
The worst fucking thing in the game. If there was a tier lower than F, that's where I would put it. These things steal your shit, and then you accidentally tame them all the fucking time.
Yeah, they steal berries.
They are
you automatically
literally the worst.
They are the worst. They steal everything, and sometimes they don't give it back. They automatically, if you had a stack of meat, a full stack of meat, they'll take it, eat it all in one bite, and then you won't be able to get it back, even if you unclaim it. And they take your berries and they automatically get tamed. They're everywhere. They even steal your shit while you're on other things. It's so annoying. It's really annoying.
It is. They do that as well. They jump on you when you're on another thing. And they're literally everywhere as well.
And they're completely useless otherwise. Once you actually have one, they're completely useless. It's not anything special to get one. Alright, this was the bane of our early game existence, the Sarco. One had its home right next to ours, and we could not travel very far without crossing its path.
We didn't kill one until Boat Adventure, and I think I literally had a bow and some stone arrows, and that's what I killed it with.
It also gave us probably the greatest jump scare that we caught on camera, at least. When it jumped on our boat and scared the living crap out of you.
It was so fucking terrifying. That was such a good part of the series, though. Like, that was definitely a funny thing. Where are we gonna put that thing?
We did end up
I'd say put it at. Oh, and another thing, they survived. Every single one of our Sarcos survived the fight against the Ice Titan, so I guess they must be OP or something. And So I put it at a B.
Yeah, I am going to put it in B. They're not very fast out of the water. They're very fast in the water, but they're not very fast out of the water. But if you level one up, they can do some damage, and they don't take a lot of maintenance, so get a couple.
No, they don't take a lot of maintenance.
But moving on to one. This is our first. Is this our first one? Well, our first. Well, no, I guess the Microraptor, but another one that we didn't tame. We tried to tame it, but the Titan boa we did not tame.
It was the shittest thing ever. You have to use fucking. Okay, so to tame these motherfuckers, you gotta get fertilized eggs, you gotta put them in a cage, and then you gotta fly high enough away so the aggro wears off and it's no longer aggro on you, and then it tames. Also, these things fucking pop out of the fucking woodwork in the swamps, and they'll just fucking knock you unconscious and eat the shit out of you. I would have to put them in a fucking E tier, because they are the fucking worst.
Yeah, they're not.
But they're not nearly as bad as a Pego or a Microraptor.
They're not,
because at least these guys aren't everywhere. They're just in the swamps.
Yeah, they're not that hard to kill, but they're also not that good in combat. Like, they have the poison, but
yeah, they're really not that useful.
Moving on now, let's do our first flyer, the Pteranodon.
Pteranodons are A tier. They're a really good, easy flyer, and the payoff for getting one of these is incredible. Yeah. Unlike like riding a raptor or a para, or even a Thylacleo, there is like no chance that you will get attacked when you're on one of these, because you'll be in the air most of the time. The only thing is stamina running out, which you're gonna have to, refill that a couple times, land on top of a mountain or whatever. But I think altogether they are pretty fucking good.
And there's plenty of them around. It won't be hard to find one. So they're not too hard to tame. And yeah, the stamina is really the only thing that's keeping the Pteranodon from A tier.
Right.
Mammoth up next. We didn't really use our mammoths much until the very
We didn't really use our mammoths, and they weren't hard to tame, but they are cool, and they have this weird fucking Guitar Hero game on them. But we didn't really do much with them, and it's like they're not hard to tame. They're passive, or they're neutral before you tame them, so they won't attack you unless you attack them. They are pretty tanky. They are a good base raider. I think that the Guitar Hero game on the back gives you some sort of like effect that helps with raiding bases, but like we never had to. Maybe we'll have to do that. Maybe we'll get online and like an actual ARK server at some point. But these guys, you see, because I didn't really know them well, so I would put them in like a C tier. Because we didn't really use them.
I'll stick them in the C. Let's do. Or keep going down. We'll do the otter next. I found this cute picture of one with a hat on it, but ours didn't have a hat. It was blue.
Yeah, Harry was a good otter. I like the otter. I think they're my favorite shoulder mounted pet. I mean, obviously they're completely fucking useless, but they're not hard to tame. You just gotta drag a dead fish. And then when they are tamed, they're mostly just a fucking vanity item. So I think altogether, though, I like the otters. So you can put it wherever you feel like.
I'll go and C along with the penguins and the dodos.
Yeah, that makes sense, because those are. It's kind of just like a pet, where like the rest of these are mounts and shit. That one's more like a pet.
Yeah. All right, Buck Cluck up next. The Uteranus.
Uteranus. Now this is easily S tier.
Yes, I would say so.
They're really because cool.
They can scare other predatory animals.
Other dinosaurs and stuff away. Smaller dinosaurs and like sabers, raptors, all that jazz. They scare them away. And they give you like a combat boost if you do the other roar. And they're kind of like T-Rexes. They're faster. The saddle does require silica pearls, which is a little bit harder to get. But altogether, they're pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
and they're pretty much, if you're a pro ARK player, kind of like Ham, the Deodon, they are required for every boss fight. Pretty much.
Exactly. It was pretty hard to get one. I'll say that.
I would say that it would be, but ours got stuck in a tree, so ours wasn't hard.
All right, we'll do the last couple of bosses on this list. First up, the Broodmother, one we did kill. This one was
The
pretty shit.
Broodmother, the one where we went in the first time and somehow lost, and then went in the second time and it got killed within 5 seconds. What a weird thing. I'm not a big fan of the Broodmother just because I think it's, crappy. It's a cool boss and all, but like the arena's lame. It's just a giant cave with webs in it, and it spawns in the Uteranus, which are the regular spiders. And they're just not cool.
Yeah, I think this is easily a D tier along with the Deodon and the Carnivore.
See the regular spiders on this list. If the regular spiders were on this list, they would be F tier because they are also just annoying. Actually, I'd put them with the Titan Boa.
All right, our last boss, the one that shouldn't have been in the game at all, the Forest Titan.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Mammoth. We didn't really interact with it that much, but it was there, and it did come out of fucking nowhere on Death Island.
It does a shitload of damage, though.
Yeah, it does.
So, maybe I'd say it's a B tier.
I'd say it's a B tier. It's not as good as the Ice Titan, but, it was still pretty cool, I guess. It's still alive on the island, I think.
Still alive on Death Island, yeah. Alright, we'll go back up now. We'll do the Megaloceros. This is technically the male, the deer. There's a Megalosaurus, Megaloceros. We never did see a Megalosaurus or something, but we did see these guys.
Megalosaurus is a thing. But this guy's a D tier. He's not, kind of like Turtles, he's not really that useful. They're not very good for much of anything. They're just kind of a vanity tame, and even for that, like they're just not great.
All right.
I think you know where the next one's going.
The bane of our existence, the Piranha.
Another very early game nuisance, the Piranha. Yeah.
Going in the F tier. Bye.
That guy has just. We don't even need to say anything about him because you already know that guy's fucking annoying if you know anything about ARK. So we'll move on.
Now, probably one of the hardest tames in ARK, the Giga.
Is that what that is?
That is the Giga, yes.
Okay. Giga. Okay. B tier. It's a pain in the ass to tame.
D?
Once you get it tamed, B.
Oh, B.
Once you get it tamed, it's alright. But before that, it is literally like one of the hardest fucking things to tame. And you can't take it to boss fights, so it's pretty much used for nothing but raiding people's bases. But like if you're playing solo or just with your close friends, you're not gonna really do that. Other than that, it's just a fucking nuisance. It exists in the fucking mountains and shit, and just eats your fucking tapijaras.
Oh boy. Also, they turn on you. They're the only base
I
know that turn on you.
If they run out of food or if they get lower than half health, they turn on you. Super shitty.
Alright, we're up with a Direwolf next. This was another late tame for us.
Direwolf is A tier, because you don't need a saddle to ride them. They're good for caves. They're not hard to tame. The only issue is they come in packs. Otherwise, they would be S tier. So when they're in packs, they're harder to deal with, and they're in the cold area. So that's why they're in A tier. But I think other than that, they're better than sabers, and they're basically, I'd say they're directly under the Thylacleo in like level of usefulness, and they're also fucking beautiful. So,
All right, Pacer, Water Horse, Pacetherum, I think it is up next. These things are pretty useless.
I would have to put him in an E tier. No, D tier. They're really good for getting meat. They're not worth taming at all. There's nothing about it that makes it worth taming. The saddles, don't even bother making them. I didn't even make ours. I found one in a loot crate. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing really else we could say. They're just around for meat.
Alright, now, King of the Jungle. No, god damn it. King
of the Jungle.
T-Rex is up next. We got a ton of these guys.
I would put them in an A tier.
Yeah, they were good. They're like the Pteranodon. They're really good, except their stamina is really bad.
And they're very slow, and they're not
slow.
necessarily hard to tame, although they can climb up 180-degree angles.
They defy all the laws of gravity. But, maybe that's a good thing, because once you actually get one, you can walk up walls. Yay!
Yeah. Yay!
Yay!
I just felt like a thing. Okay. Have fun with that.
What the fuck, Brian?
Just saying hi.
This is our
hello.
Okay, that's all. I disapprove of the monkey being an A tier. Okay, bye.
Nah, he don't know.
He doesn't even know anything about ARK. I'm so confused.
Think about this.
No idea. Okay, anyway, moving on.
Dinosaur tier list.
Alright, moving on.
Brian, leave. Right, this is our tier list. Okay. Moving on. Allosaurus up next. Another late tame.
Not really that useful.
No,
they come in packs.
Which is weird.
They kill shit, and they're kind of in a nuisance. I'd have to put them in a D tier, because they're not really good for anything. Never used them. We tamed one, and then we just had one.
Yeah.
And once you get a T-Rex, I'd say even a Carno renders them useless.
Yeah, I would say so as well. They're not as fast. Dire Bears up next.
Fuck the Dire Bears, even though they're the cutest thing ever. I would put them at a C tier.
Yeah, they get boosted to C only because of their really cute animations when you level them up. But they did kill.
But they did fucking kill Beefcake.
We killed Beefcake.
So I'm a little bit biased. Moving on to the best of the best. S tier instantly. Put that motherfucker up there.
Cleo. It is so
Mufasa
underrated.
the best thing.
You never hear about the Thylacleo in any ARK players, any games, and we just happened to stumble upon. That was a pretty big event when we first stumbled upon one, and we didn't even know what the hell it was doing.
I mean, that was never uploaded. That was. Well, I guess kind of it was as a short, but the original one was when we crossed the log and this thing came fucking bolting out of there and just started eating Tyler, and it gave me one of the other biggest jump scares where it just fucking crawled into the log. Because the Carnos weren't big enough to, or were too big to get in the log, but this thing just fucking came right through. It was honestly terrifying, and they're hard to tame. They're not easy, but once you get them, they are the fucking best.
Oh my god, you level them up a little bit. Even out all their levelings, and they are unstoppable except for the Ice Titan.
I mean, honestly, we got Mufasa to one-shot T-Rexes. Mufasa killed a Giga. Mufasa killed the Megapithecus that was just around and about in the wild. Mufasa was our method of transportation that we knew was just always reliable. I cannot begin to stress.
You breed a bunch of these, get a whole army of these, and you're unstoppable.
They are probably the best base raider because they can climb walls as well. So you can climb right over the fucking wall of somebody's base, or you could just fly over, I guess. But I don't know. The flyers won't do as much damage as the fucking Thylacleo. I'll say that much.
They have probably the second best jumping ability, right behind the Capro Suchus,
yeah, I'd say
but it doesn't take as much stamina, which is nice.
Right. I think that the Thylacleo is an S tier, and that is where he belongs.
All right, moving on to the Mesopithecus, the tiny monkey. We got the medium-sized monkey, big monkey, and now the little monkey. I'm gonna put this in C.
That guy is a D tier. Put him in the D tier. He's not even worth it. Not only is he annoying to tame, because you need to fucking chase him around and give him berries, but once you tame them, he's literally just a vanity pet. He's just the guy who sits on your shoulder. Now, they're cool and all, and I love them, but, fuck that, dude. You have to fucking follow these things around, and they die so easily. You'll be following one around, you'll put a berry in him, and he'll run straight away into a fucking raptor and just get eaten. And it is so annoying. These motherfuckers piss me off.
Alright, one that didn't really make much of an appearance on our series, but did have a pretty strong exit, the Spino.
It's very interesting to me, because after our Spinos died, we only really saw, one other Spino, and it was in the cold area. And which really surprises me because they're pretty fucking common. We saw a lot of them on Boat Adventure. We tamed 2 of them. We took Kirby with us and the other one to the boss fight. Now, admittedly, they were like level 2 and level 30, so I didn't really anticipate them doing like anything too crazy. But I mean, fuck, the T-Rex is the same Broodmother, the same fucking Broodmother we took in the T-Rexes, and they took it out in like 5 seconds. But a fucking Spino didn't do jack shit.
They weren't doing too bad. It's just that one of them was level 2 and one, so they both died. So, didn't really give them a whole lot of, boosting.
It's weird because to us it felt like an early game thing because they're not hard to tame. All you need is a crossbow with like 3 or 4 trank arrows. They're not hard to knock out. They're not hard to tame. You just put meat in them. You don't even require like fish or nothing like that. And I think the most annoying part about them is their saddle also requires silica pearls. And I just feel like, just skip to the T-Rexes really. And if you want something that's both on land and in water, get the fucking get a frog or get a fucking what is the other one? Capro,
Yeah. I'll put this one in the C tier, I guess.
You could skip over them without anyone even noticing.
Argentavis up next, another flyer.
Argentavis is an S tier for multiple reasons. 1, they have really good weight. 2, their stamina is really good. 3, they could pick shit up, including Ankylosaurus, and that made it really easy to get metal. And 4, they do quite a bit of damage as well, so you can use them to fight shit as well. And then the only issue that I have with them is the fact that you can't upgrade their speed, which is not that bad of an issue, but like they are super slow.
Yeah, they're definitely they're like the Pteranodon, except they have better stamina and less speed, but speed's not that much of an issue.
Right.
This is Compy. Up next.
Compies are going to be right there with the Titan Boa. They are an E tier. Okay, so here's what you need to do to tame them. That's why we never did, because I never wanted to fucking go through the effort to do it. You need to knock them out, more than likely with a crossbow and a trank arrow, because it is going to be a pain in the ass to fucking knock them out with a fucking... The only other option, you could use a bow. I don't know how well it's going to work, but the only other option is a slingshot or a club. Now, the problem I have with that is that does a lot of damage and will take down the taming ability by a lot. But then, their torpidity is so low that they wake up almost instantly. So the only way to tame them is to put prime meat in their inventory to tame them. And once you tame them, they are a shoulder pet. And throughout the world, they are just an annoying thing that shows up and begs for food, and then it just randomly starts attacking you at random points in time.
Yeah, they're pretty shit. Let's start picking up the pace here. But here we go. Tapijara is up next.
Tapijara, I'm also gonna have you put at the S tier.
Double saddle. Double saddle.
Unlike, it's a triple saddle actually, and unlike unlike the Pteranodon, unlike the Argentavis comparison to the Pteranodon, which is kind of a little bit different. This guy is literally just a Pteranodon, but with a bigger saddle, and he's faster, and his stamina is better. And also, you can climb walls, kind of like the Thylacleo. But they are really good for taming Quetzes. We never really got to use our Quetz before he died. But Quetzes are good, so you want to get this guy to tame a Quetz, and then, you can tame Gigas with this guy too, but we fucking sucked at that, so.
Alright, Woolly Rhino up next. Never really
Woolly Rhino's gonna have to be at C, because we didn't really do much with them.
No, they're not too bad. They do have they again have a very cute animation.
They do have a very cute animation. They roll over.
Alright, we'll skip right over to the Bronto. Again, we didn't really use the Bronto much.
We did a little bit to get berries, and man, are they fucking berry pickers. They're really good for berries. They're absolutely everywhere. They're really good for meat. They're not the best thing for meat. I do definitely know what the best thing for meat is, and I actually don't even see it. Oh, no, there it is. And I think Yeah, you're definitely going to put it C tier because they're not. I wouldn't say they're easy to tame. They're kind of a late game tame, and I don't really know what you would even use them for at that late in the game.
Deforestation, probably.
Yeah, just deforestation and just getting like berries because there's really no other real use, and you can't take them to boss battles either.
No. You also,
Our Brontos
also,
survived.
Going back to the Thylacleo for a minute, apparently you can't take them to boss battles either, but people have done it. It's a huge controversy. I need to do more research into the Thylacleo in the game because it's so good, yet nobody ever talks about it. So there is something wrong about it. There is something wrong. But we'll move right over to the Baryonyx. We had a Baryonyx for a little bit, but it died in the boss fight with the Broodmother.
Yeah. Okay, so the reason why we tamed this motherfucker is because we were told that he was really good in caves. I'd have to disagree. I thought he was more annoying than anything. And when they're in the swamp, they have this effect where they paralyze you when they attack you in the water, and they'll throw you off your mounts and stuff. And when we were on a first trip to the Death Island to conquer it, I believe, there was one in the swamp right on the fucking right side of the map, and he killed me. Now, luckily, none of that got saved because I fucking rage quit out of there, and my mom was yelling at me, so that was annoying. But I'd have to put them at a fucking E tier because they're really not. Like, you'll watch these videos, top 10 cave dinosaurs, number 1, Baryonyx. No, fuck the Baryonyx. They're not great.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that guy. Megalodon up next. I think this is the first water creature that I put on this. I guess
the Piranha.
The Piranha was the first, but this is the first big ocean creature.
This guy's a B tier. Now they are really good, for like early water, and they're not hard to tame. And they're also really, really fucking cool. I mean, who doesn't want a fucking shark, right?
They're iconic. You want to get one. It's like a T-Rex. It's not the best, right, but exactly. You have to get one.
Right, exactly.
All right, moving on to the Ankylosaur. We're going to go back up to the top now. Ankylosaur.
Ankylosaur is an A tier. A for Ankylosaur. Now, I know you didn't like Nikolai that much, but I just got to let you know how much that guy is so fucking useful. The fact that he lowers the weight of the metal and gathers more metal than regular things like pickaxes and the Doedicurus, and you could pick him up with an Argentavis, it made him the most useful thing out of all of our dinosaurs combined. Because without him, we wouldn't have had all those saddles, we wouldn't have had all that armor, all those guns, all those arrows, all that shit. Would not have been possible without Nikolai and Eagle Eye.
Alright, Plesiosaur is up next. Actually, no, we're going
to... Plesiosaurs.
Actually, no, we'll do Plesiosaur next. But first, let's do this little fucker right here, the Titanian drone bug ant.
Put him in the F tier. Unlike which is another thing that comes out of nowhere and just annoys you all the fucking time. This guy actually poisons you, and it does more damage. And then there's flying versions of it, too. And the amount of times that Tyler was so incompetent against them, and he just couldn't fight back against them, even though it was like one hit with a pike or a spear, they always showed up. It was always a combo, right? It would always be the Microraptor knocked you off, and then these fuckers would show up and start nibbling at your toes.
Yeah. Plesiosaur is up next. We'll do the Plesiosaur now.
This is up to you. You really got to ride him the most. I only saw them in the wild.
He's pretty fast. He does quite a bit of damage. Actually, he didn't really fight anything too big, but what he did fight killed pretty easily. He's fast. I'm gonna put him in the A tier. I think he's pretty useful in the water. Obviously on land he's gonna be shit because he's a water creature. But they're really good, I think.
The basil isn't on this list.
I didn't put the basil. I didn't really know much about it.
Oh, the basil is an S tier though.
Alright, moving on. Something that really fucked us over when we first went to the caves, the Komodo dragon.
The Megalania, yeah. He only fucked us over because of one simple thing. Rabies. Oh my! Rabies. Fuck that disease, you know? We were in the caves and these fuckers just come up to us. They're actually they sit on the ceilings and the walls and shit. And they're not easy to tame, I wouldn't say. They're... On the island, they're only found in caves, but on Ragnarok, they're a lot of other places. But, I think altogether this guy's just an E tier. He's just the same as a Titanoboa, pretty much, or a Baryonyx. They're just an annoying cave thing.
I also want to put sabers in the E tier.
Yeah, I would put the sabers in the E tier because, like, the Direwolf is the better version of the saber, and the Thylacoleo is the better version of the Direwolf. And also the sabers are also like basically when you get high levels is when you start seeing sabers, because you got to go to the mountain and get metal, and you got to go to the cold area to get whatever, fucking fight the Megapithecus and get some Uteranus and stuff. And these guys are basically the compies of the high levels, because they literally are just completely fucking useless.
Are you supposed to come upstairs?
Yeah, I'll be up in a minute.
Hello? Hello?
Alright, moving on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
So this is the Doedicurus. Not
the
Diplodocus. Diplodocus up next.
A tier. Now, I have a reason for why it's A tier. And that reason is, it is the best way to get meat. The best way to get prime meat, and one of the better ways to get hide. And the reason for that is, it's a sauropod, but it does damage. It's the playful dinosaur. When we were in the coniferous forest, it was really go-to for when I needed to get meat for our dinosaurs. I go and I find a Diplodocus and I just fucking kill one, and it gives you tons and tons of meat. Now, as far as taming, they're a passive tame. They're not hard to kill. They are kind of annoying because they knock you about. When you tame them, however, they're like an 8-seater, so they're basically a boss. But even when you tame them, they still don't do damage. But I think just for the purpose of getting meat, they're an A tier.
Back. We cut those into 2 things. We added a few more.
Yes.
So let's start with our fluffy Diplocalus, as it's called. We call him
Diplocalus.
Not Diplodocus. Diplocalus.
Diplocalus. D tier.
You didn't really use it.
They're cool looking and all that. And they look like autistic and derpy as all hell, but like, you know, which is awesome. I mean, like, come on, you can't not love that. Their eyes are so far apart, and yet so close together. They act like a scuba tank. It really, they're a paradox. But they act like a scuba tank, but really, why not just make a scuba tank? Like, they're not that hard to make, and these guys don't have that much health, and they're kind of difficult to find and tame. I only really saw 2, and Tyler never saw any in the wild. Yeah, so that's where I'm putting that one.
Alright, we're going with next. This is the
Pelagornis.
Which is I don't even want to say the name, but
it's the rideable seagull. It's penis. I'm sorry, P3N15. That's what that one is called.
Kyle.
And then bigger dodo. Kyle? What?
Elon Musk's son.
Okay.
AEX.
Anyway, these things, they should be an early flyer. They should be easier to get, but they're really not that great. They have really crappy weight and really crappy stamina. I guess the only really good thing about them is that they can go straight from the air to the water and just like sit on the water, but they're really crappy health-wise. I think you're going to put them right where your cursor's at.
In the D tier. D tier.
If I keep talking the way I'm laying on the ground, I'm going to throw up. So let me position myself better. Oh, fuck, my neck. It hurts so bad.
One you heavily requested me to put on here.
S tier. S tier.
Beautiful. Another S tier. I gotta love the S tier.
Gives you fortitude. He's passive tame, and he only requires cooked meat. They negate all electricity effects. They're the best in the caves, and they are absolute tanks. S tier, easily.
Alright, Dunkel is up next. Dunkleosteus. Really rocking the sea creatures here.
we put them on the C tier. We didn't really use them that much, and they're kind of annoying.
They're really hard to tame.
Like,
yeah, they're really hard to
swam
tame.
away really fast.
One that we probably should have tamed. We had a big plan to tame it, and we never did. The Mosasaur. Something next.
Now, Mosasaurs are like the T-Rexes of the ocean. The only issue I have for them is all the ocean exploring you're really going to do is in caves, and they're too big for the caves. So that's going to put them in an A tier, right? I would say A tier. We didn't tame one, but they are a knockout tame. They're not that hard to tame, I wouldn't say. And they are the T-Rexes of the ocean. They're the strongest and heaviest hitters, as far as I know, at least. And so that's where I'm putting that guy.
Alright, the seagull that steals your shit, according to Noah, is up next.
Ichthyosaur. Yeah, we actually came across these. I don't know how you don't remember them.
I do remember them.
Down from the sky.
I do remember
them. And steal your fucking shit, just
basically,
like the Pego.
Basically, they're the Pegos of the sky, so that's why I'm going to put them in F.
They're like so much worse than Pegos. They're because they can fly. They are impossible to hit. And they're a really useless.
They're not as common. They're not as common though. So
yeah, and the issue. Well, they are, but you have to be along the beaches on the outside of the island on the outer perimeter. Like we were on an interior beach, so they were never there. But not only are they like the Pegos of the sky, but they're hard to tame. Like you have to knock them out and then feed them fish. Whereas the Pego will steal your stuff and accidentally get tamed. No, these guys steal your stuff and eat them, and then you have to knock them out and tame them with more food that they didn't happen to steal. So yeah, they're really annoying.
Alright, up next is the Packy. The Packy with no penis gun. The Packy. Okay, where's the Packy go?
It's gonna go in a D tier.
Yeah, we had a Packy, we didn't really use him much.
Yeah, we had Big Head. We got him after we left the first cave off camera a little bit. And then we just took him back with us on the boat. But really, I gotta say, you can ride them. We never did. You can make a saddle and ride them. But they're
so
pretty
small.
fucking useless.
They're so small.
They're pretty useless. They're like Turtis, pretty much. They're like, yeah, it's cool to have one because Packies are kind of iconic in the dinosaur world. I mean, if you're a fan of dinosaurs, you know what a Packy is. And you know. There's other cool stuff with them that we never got to see because we didn't have the archaeology event. You can actually get a costume that turns them into a Stiggy Moloch, which is pretty cool. But we never. That was the one when I was trying to activate event. I was trying to get that and a Brachiosaur skin, and there was another one, but I can't remember what it was. But they're pretty much just useless though.
All right, the Iguanodon is up next.
Okay, so Iguanodons are B tier, and for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is that they're really fast and they hit hard, early game at least, or mid game, early to mid game. Another thing is they're not hard to tame. They're a knockout tame, so that's easy. The only really annoying thing about them is that when you go into their inventory, the seed, fruit, and inventory thing exists, so I'm constantly accidentally turning all of the berries that I give them into seeds. And then they'll just fucking die of starvation. But other than that, they're pretty fast as well, and they're a pretty solid tame.
Yeah, I like ours. We didn't really use it much. It's just basically like a para, except doesn't have as great of attack.
Right.
Dimetrodon is up next.
Dimetrodon is a E tier. This is like one of the worst things you can tame. It wakes up incredibly fast, and it just works as like a basic AC unit. Although it's really, really hard to tame, and it comes in the swamps, and it's really just not worth it. It's annoying. It just gets in the way. I don't know if you can notice, but most of the freaking things in E tier are from the swamp. There is a reason for that, and it's because they're all from the swamp, and together they're unstoppable and are really annoying.
Well, we didn't put the Sarco in E tier. That's a different story.
Well, the Sarco is a little bit better, and it's bigger and easier to spot.
All right. Anyway, up next is the Doedicurus. Or hey, it's Fred. Red.
I think you know where this one's going.
S.
Not S. It
A.
would go in A with the Ankylo. And I think you know why as well.
It's basically the same thing as the Ankylosaur. It's a little slower, but it's really good for collecting stone and stuff. It got great weight.
Right, exactly.
And you can.
And it does the exact same thing that the Ankylosaur does for metal. It turns down the weight of stone in your inventory. We use it to build our water base out of stone. It's really good for building a stone base, and we'll probably get one a lot earlier on in Ragnarok.
All right. This is also an
Ichthyosaur.
Yeah.
One of them, I think the seagull is the Ichthyosaurus, and this one's the actual Ichthyosaur.
What?
Roberts just beat him.
So this this one is a little bit different. It's not hard to tame. I believe it's a knockout tame. We never really tamed one. They're just dolphins, pretty much. They don't attack you or anything like that. So I guess as far as like early tames go, they're like the Parasaur of the ocean. So I would put it at like a B tier, even though we didn't tame one. We never really got much use out of them. They are really good.
They are good indicators for bigger things, though. Like if you see one, you know that there's something big near in the water.
Yeah, that's very true. And they're good. They're basically a boat in the very early game, but you could just get a boat instead. So
yeah. All right. Up next is the Calico Theorem, poop throwing thing that needs alcohol.
That you need alcohol to tame. Yeah, that's a D tier for me. They're really weird. Their aggression is random, I feel, because like it feels like sometimes they attack you and sometimes they don't. And then like again, you have to use alcohol to tame them, and that's really fucking annoying. And they throw shit at you and blind you and like kind of I believe they do the same sort of thing as the Microraptor does. They're really annoying. So they're D tier, but they're not nearly as bad as the other things below it.
Another annoying thing is a terror bird. I'd put that up here.
I'd put that right there with it. Maybe C tier.
No,
it would definitely be between C and D tier.
I'm putting it D.
I bet you could go ahead and explain why they're
okay. First of all, they're super fast. Okay, but they don't do a whole lot of damage. They come in packs. They block you, but they don't do a whole lot of damage. You're just sitting there doing nothing. They always seem to follow things that knock you out, and then whenever you get knocked out, they just come and chomp at your body while your torpidity is doing nothing. It's really dumb. They're not even that good of a tame either. They're just a nuisance. It's really annoying.
Yeah, they're like the wolves of the coniferous forest.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Except for like, their stats aren't the greatest either, and they're kind of annoying, like Tyler said.
We'll do the horse next. I don't know its exact name. I found a zebra skin looking one here for the picture. Should have gotten one of these too.
These guys are definitely D tier as well.
They are hard to tame though. We did try to get one.
That's the only reason. That's pretty much the only reason where I'm putting them in D tier. They're hard to tame. One, they're a passive tame, and so you have to feed them rock carrots, which is one of the most annoying things because farming, and you have to get a rock carrot seed. But on Ragnarok, they're going to be much higher on the tier list because rock carrots just grow in the ground. But yeah, so I'm going to put that in a D.
So you're indicating we're going to be doing a Ragnarok tier list as well. Ooh.
No, I don't think so. We might do an updated tier list because
there will be new things to add.
There will be new things. There will be scorched earth things and griffins and stuff like that. So maybe, I don't know.
Here's something that should have not been in our game, like the Forest Titan. Freaking Death Worm.
This one is an E tier. I don't even know how to tame these guys. They just popped up out of nowhere.
They come out of the sand. They give you like a halo in the sand, and they come out, and they try to attack you. And I think they do have quite a bit of health, but they do like 0 damage. They just spawn. We just drag both of them. When we encountered them, came out of the ground right in front of our T-Rexes. So the T-Rexes just annihilated them.
Yeah.
That ain't supposed to be in our game, though. I don't know how. I mean, they spawn in the right environment. They spawn in desert, sandy environments. But, like, they're really...
I still think they came from the same place as the Forest Titan and the Ice Titan, which is that guy who just kept coming into the world. But again, the Ice Titan is what scares me the most because I don't know. I definitely put it on private ever since then. There would have been no way for him to join, so I have no idea how the Ice Titan even got there. But yeah, they're just annoying.
One that I really wanted to tame because of its name, the Beelzefo, or the frog. Beelzefo? Yeah.
Beelzebufo. My brother is like a big fan of these. They do when they eat bugs, they turn them into cementing paste, which is really really good. So I'm gonna put them at a B tier. They're not that hard to tame. They jump. They're pretty good for getting around. The only issue I have with them is that again they're from the swamp.
The swamp, man. It's just not, no. One that I almost forgot to put on here. The Stegosaur. Is up next.
Yep. Sarah. They're kind of like a weird kind of thing that just exists. They're okay. I'd say they are a C tier. Because we got
Same
one very
levels.
late game.
I put them up. Where's the Trike? Where do we put the Trike at? I think they're.
We put the Trike at a B tier. It's up to you. You can put it in the B tier. I think
I'd
they're
say
more of a C tier because.
Well,
I think they're more of a C tier because they're kind of just a thing that exists. You know.
Yeah. True. They're a lot like the Trike, though. They have about the same
Right.
stats. Their
Right.
builds are different, obviously, but they do
They're
about
found
the
in
same
different
thing.
areas as well.
Yeah. The Onyx Bats thing is up next. These guys are absolute assholes.
Right, they're definitely F tier. They're annoying to tame. They're just dumb. They live in the caves. They give you rabies, and they fly. It's the whole package. They're just the worst. So that's where that one's going.
How about the Titanosaur, last sauropod on this list, is up next.
Titanosaur is a solid C. Because again, they just exist. There's no real point to them. They're impossible to tame. We would have never.
And also, what I learned: if you tame one, you can only have it for a certain amount of time.
Correct, exactly, and then it untames. And they're really not good for anything. Like even when I killed one with Mufasa, it didn't give me that much meat.
You can't
comparative
build
to
entire.
its
You
size.
can build entire houses on it, but
Right. But
you can also do that
all
for like a
things considered, they're
Diplodocus
just-
or a Bronto, and they can
Right.
stay tamed. Like you don't have a timer, so.
Right, exactly. They're just not the greatest. They're cool. They're really cool
They're
to come
massive.
across and see,
They're
but
absolutely massive.
right. Well, they're the biggest naturally spawning thing on the island. But then of course the fucking Tree Titan and Ice Titan showed up and knocked them out of the water. But they're just a cool occurrence.
All right, Manta. Next, this is our last underwater creature.
They're annoying. They're not annoying to the point where they're unbearable. But they are annoying, and that's why I'm going to put them at an E tier.
Yeah, that's what
You didn't really have much interaction with them, did you?
I had a little bit in our last water adventure, but again, I was riding the plesiosaur, so it didn't really matter. But don't they electrocute you, or is that the eels?
No, they poison you. And they're kind of fast and annoying, and they're kind of like the poop thrower. They're kind of random when it comes to aggression. And the real reason why I'm putting them so low is because when you're taming a basil, they just exist, right? And for whatever reason, everything flocks to the basil, and you have to like go up. And when you feed it something, everything that is with that basil will attack you at once, and that is so annoying and dumb. And that's why they're going to be at E tier.
All right, Troodon. Troodon is next.
F.
These guys are annoying as all hell. They're basically the same thing as compies, except they're bigger, they give you more torpidity, and honestly, I think they're more frequent. They're everywhere.
They are everywhere, kind of like the Microraptor.
I mean, they're not that hard to kill, but why? Why are they all over the place? I like how I mean, the only game that they really main anything is Jurassic Park the game. They're like the main villain in that game, main dinosaur killer. Obviously, except for the T-Rex. But moving on. Sid Spiderbait, the Megatherum, is up next.
Megatherums. Now, we were going to take them to fight the Broodmother, but both of them fell behind when we were taking them because we didn't use Pokeballs. So they didn't even end up coming with us, which is probably for the best, although we might have won if they were with us and everything else that fell behind. But I kind of doubt it. So they're going to be, I would say, a B tier. They're not hard to tame. They're berries. They're good against insects, and they're pretty good against the Broodmother. They're an easy tame, and they're just cool to have around. They're awesome looking, too. They're freaking giant.
Yeah, they are. Centipede, Rhino, the...
It's like an Arthurone, something. It's something like that.
These things are stupid. I don't like them.
Yeah, I'll let you decide where this one goes.
I'm gonna put it in the E. I don't think it's on the same level as like the bat or a Piranha or a Pego, but it's definitely a lot like a Titan boa. It's like the cave version of that, and you can also find Titan boas in the caves. But yeah, they're pretty much the same, except one. I guess they do both shoot venom at you. So yeah, they're basically the same, except one can come out of walls. Titan boas can't come out of walls. So
this next guy, the Perlova, the rat, is definitely an E tier. It is literally, it literally jumps out of the ground and attacks you when you're on your things.
When you're
it'll
like
knock
running,
you off your mounts, and it'll paralyze you.
Yeah, like when you're running, like you don't have enough reaction time to see it. Like you know what to look for, you just don't see it because either it's hidden under grass, or you're going way too fast, or you're distracted, or something like that. And they jump out, murder you, and your family, and then they're just so dumb. I mean, they're cool to have. They're when it comes to like taming
you can't ride them, but for base defense, they could do the same thing to your enemy as they do to you in the wild, and I guess that's okay.
But when you have them storage space, like with our base, like we crammed everybody in this one little spot, but like the Perlovia can just go in the ground and you don't have to worry about it. That's pretty good.
Right, that's a very, very good point.
That's its only really perk, I would say. Quetzal's up next.
Quetzals are really, really good, but we didn't use one very much. And I tamed it off camera with my brother. This one is definitely a S tier, right up there with the Tappy. And the reason for this, and Tyler probably is because he was going more towards A, but it's massive. It can take a lot of hits. You can build a platform on it, so you could theoretically build a house on a flyer if you wanted to. But really what they're best for is taming things like the Titanosaur and the Giga and things like that. And doing stuff like taming the Tree Titan and the Ice Titan. Like, it would be the best for those sort of things. And they're not by any means really that hard to tame. As long as you get a Tappy, they're really straightforward and easy. The only issue with them is that there are so few and far away. And they're just kind of hard to get to and find.
They're pain in the asses to tame as well, especially if we were using...
Well, we were using an Argentavis, which was our mistake, because I kept shooting the bird instead of it because I was like inside of its ass. But the Tappy is a 3-person saddle, and me and my brother knocked it out in like 3 hits.
Yeah, I guess you just gotta be effective with it. The Therminorizer. Therizinosaurus. I wish we would have had one of these as well. What's up next?
Yeah, it's another one of those things that we didn't tame, but we did encounter quite often. Now, these guys are going to be a lot more prevalent and hard to deal with than Ragnarok. But overall, they're definitely a B-tier dinosaur. They're really good. They're the T-Rex of the herbivore world.
For sure.
They're easier to tame than the T-Rex. They're not as good, but they could easily take a T-Rex in a fight. And so that's why I think they belong here.
Yeah, I mean, they're really good for boss battles, I read, but we didn't really use one much. We didn't get one. There's a lot of things we didn't get. Our series could have been a couple episodes longer and probably would have been more satisfying in the end, but who cares? Yeah, I think B tier, for us at least, is a good place. For somebody who did get a Ceratosaurus and worked with it more, they probably would have it higher, but for us, we're having the B tier.
Also, I would just like to remind you, everyone who's watching, that these are our own opinions. You are allowed to have other opinions. And if you don't like some of our opinions, why don't you go ahead and thumbs up the video anyway and talk about it in the comments, and you could debate in the comments on some of our picks.
Just like we,
like probably the most controversial one, which is going to be the Thylacleo.
Yeah, I gotta do some more research on that guy. But Beaver, the beaver is up next. The last one we actually tamed.
Beavers normally, I would put it a C tier, but these guys are going to a B tier for one specific reason, and it's before you tame them, and it really technically isn't them.
The dams?
The beaver dams. They have tons of rare mushrooms, tons of rare flowers, which are good for taming things, and then they have a lot of cementing paste inside of them and a lot of wood, and for that they are good. But I feel like as far as taming them, it's not hard. It's a knockout, and it's like 4 hits with a crossbow and a trank arrows. And then they eat berries. Now riding them, you do need a cementing paste for a saddle, but they are really good for collecting wood. They're like the Doedicurus, but for wood. And they do, I believe, lower the weight for the wood as well. Yeah. But I think that would just put them in a C tier, because wood is not as good as stone or metal for the Ankylo or the Doe. Then again, like, it is just wood, and you can just get that with pretty much anything, including the Tyrannosaurus, which would be a better pick for getting wood, in my opinion, even though it doesn't decrease the weight.
Yeah, they're also pretty cute. They're little cuties, though.
They are my favorite prehistoric mammal.
And finally, last and probably least, the spider.
The Rhino. And you know where this one's going.
It's going straight to the F tier.
They make really creepy noises. They're very unsettling to look at.
They shoot webs. They don't do a lot of damage.
I forgot the scorpions.
Oh, god damn it. Nope, I'm getting the scorpion. Hold on.
Worm with legs.
We're getting a scorpion. Hold on.
I'll mention a couple of the other ones that we didn't put on here, but they weren't like nearly as important and had like no interaction with.
Okay,
we tamed one of these guys.
Last and certainly not least, the scorpion. Worms with legs.
Worm with legs. Now, he was like our first cave tame and our first insect tame, and he was really cool at the time.
And then he died.
It was accidental because I ran out of stone arrows and I had to use trank arrows instead. And I was like, yeah, well, I guess while we're here, we might as well just tame him instead of killing him. But he didn't last long.
No, he died. He died to the centipedes.
Right. They took him out pretty easily. Now, I would put him at a D tier. They are really good. When you tame them, you could ride them, and then you can trank things out with them. But they are really prevalent, and when we go to Scorched Earth, and whenever we go to the desert, they will be our biggest problem. There are Titan boas in the desert as well, but these guys will be our biggest problem because they will just be everywhere. And, you know, you got a death worm on you, and then a scorpion pops up, and you're just like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to die now.
They're not, like, the strongest enemy, but you can easily get trapped, and that's a problem.
Right. Right.
They can easily trap you.
It's never really that bad when it's just the scorpion, but it's always inconvenient when you're fighting something else and a scorpion appears. And that'll close out this tier list, but there are a couple things that we didn't put on here, and it's for the reasons that, you know, some of them we never even saw on camera. I saw them off camera, but like we got the jellyfish, we got the eel, we've got the queen bee. And then there's a bunch of others ones that are just like that we just never really interacted with or saw or did anything with.
Since we were basing this strictly off of our experiences with them during the playthrough, on or off camera, we didn't get enough to really have a chance to fairly rank them. So that's why we didn't add them onto the list. But I think we got all of our tames on here.
Yes, I believe so. If we missed anything, let us know in the comments below.
If we missed any tames, yes, let us know. Any of our tames specifically. Plus many others that we had heavy encounters with, such as, the Titanosaur, the Centipede, and a few others. But let's do a final rundown of the list. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the S tier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 A tier. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 13 in the B tier. And 13 in the C tier. 14 in the D tier. 10 in the E tier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 8 in the F tier. Oh boy. So D tier is the most crowded. Followed by B and C. And then D and A, E and A. And then F and then S. S is the most elite group out of all of them. Fitting.
Yeah, I feel like every ARK series you're going to have, you're going to tame the S tiers. Except for the Ice Titan, that's a different thing. But, you're going to tame a Uteranus. We are going to tame a Thylacoleo. Or you're going to tame an Argentavis, a Tappy, and a Basil.
We are going to tame those. But what others?
Well, we are definitely going to tame
I would say the Thylacoleo is one of the most underrated things in the whole entire game. Because you never hear talked about. But it's so good. We gotta do a whole.
It's good for fighting. It's good for getting around. It's just all around well-rounded thing. And the only real issue is, they jump on you from above and they knock you off step, and they're kind of difficult to tame. Even if you're in a good place, your dinosaurs kill them so fast. But all around, Thylacoleo is the most underrated thing in ARK.
And I would say probably the best thing on here that's not a boss. And it even outlasts some of the bosses. Really the only thing that beat it was the Titans. Force Titan and the Ice Titan. It beat the Megapithecus. It beat the Broodmother. We didn't try any other bosses. We didn't include all the bosses. We didn't include that dragon or the Overseer. Because we didn't try those
Because we didn't even try them out. And I didn't even try them out off camera. And I've never fought them. Well, I fought the Overseer, but I've never fought the Dragon. And when I did fight the Overseer, I was cheating, so it didn't count. I was just in creative mode. Yeah, so I think that's good.
I think that's it, yeah. This is another large tier list, guys, that we did. Hopefully it's not
kind of like DreamWorks and Disney.
Hopefully it's not as 50-50 as the DreamWorks one is right now. That one's just right down the middle. Either you hate it because your favorite movie got ranked in F tier, or you love it because your favorite movie got ranked in S tier. So don't be biased with this one, guys. It's our opinion. We know that
you are allowed to have your own opinions, but go ahead and like the video anyway.
The only opinion that doesn't matter is anybody who likes the Pego. Okay? No.
Right. If you like the Pego, dislike the video because you are a mistake to humanity as a whole.
Alright though, guys, that is gonna wrap it up for this video. Till next time, into the next tier list. We'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.